Okay, so here we are ready to start John Company. I set up some of the prize cards, or the 6 prize cards that the game starts with. These are fixed for the game. The only thing they provide is a little bit of difference as to how each game is going to play out. And probably not a whole lot in terms of how the board's used. Okay, so I've ordered them from victory points. These guys are all worth 1, this one's worth 2, this one's worth a big 6. But you can get a manor for $5. It's worth 2. 6, well, it costs you $15 for a retiring executive, 18 for a retiring superior officer. This one, it's only worth 2, but that's not too bad a price, right? 5 and 4, about equivalent to this. And you get to use retiring. You don't have to take your family action. The problem is, both of these, that's a lot of money, especially this one, but this is a fair amount of money to have available. The bonus of it, you can spend your cube, and you'll get a captain or an officer at any time. And you can do this just before they're shifted over, so that so that you can take advantage of sort of seeing, yeah, this is a good time to have when there aren't a lot of people, or hey, I've got the money for a captaincy. Sometimes it's hard to plan in advance because you don't know if you're going to retire and spend a lot of money on one of these. All right, let's go to this one. Before the evening post, you can move the elephant a space and protect the next space. An Indian newspaper. Let me shift these by cost as well. Okay, so this one, this is also only a 1-pointer, but during hiring, your eligible writer has to be promoted first if you spend your cube here. If multiple people spend cubes on this to challenge each other, there's no effect. Although maybe it requires that one of the people who is spending their cube is affected by it from the way it's worded, but in either case, none of the cubes are used. Okay, for this one, if you roll event dice and you don't like them, you can re-roll them once. Again, it uses it. And this one's just a cheap victory points. 2 or $1 will get you a victory point. Now, because cubes are limited, things like this are great. In the 6-turn game, you generally kind of want to flood these about as fast as you can get them. You know, if people retire and you have the cash to buy one, you go in and you spend the cash on it. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case on a 10-turn game. You may want to hold off on buying 1-pointers, especially ones without a special ability, just because you may need those cubes later in the game. Plus, we don't know what happens, you know, whether or not the company's going to even exist. In which case, do you need more or less cubes? Well, we know the company's going to exist, but we don't know whether or not it's going to have a monopoly. And the thing with that is, it might make it more attractive to have cubes in your stock that you're not really doing anything with because your ships need those cubes, and you may be buying your own ships at a rate that's higher than you would be doing normally. I'm really not sure. I've never played that game. Okay, so let's go to our first family, and as usual, I'm going to go counterclockwise, in case you're not used to my videos, as opposed to clockwise, just because I want to be weird. Okay, so this guy's bonus is for every 2 ships with captains, he gains $1 from the bank, or if post a pound, or if post regulation gains £1 for the bank for every firm. Again, I don't know how to read that. It's like this, except this one I can come up with probable meaning. That one I'm not so sure I can, so if it goes post, I don't know. So I want one of the executive positions, there's no question. Do I want the chairmanship? The chairmanship gives me a powerful ability, which is if these get cleared out, I can refill them. However, I think that I am most interested in actually the presidency of Bengal. First time I played it, I grabbed the chairmanship. It's nice, but I don't know if it's that nice. Now, for each one of these that we pull, you also have to put one of your cubes from your starting cubes in there. This guy, skilled administrator, when taking any company action, roll an additional die for free. Well, I definitely want to be in a presidency with that. Unfortunately for me, it's not clear which presidency I want. I think Madras is more interesting. Yeah. Where does my cube go? Ah, yes. I think Madras is more interesting, so I'll take that. For various reasons. Okay. The Sykes family. At the start of trade, if you have at least 2 writers, gain a pound from the bank. Not terribly interested in director of trade, I'll tell you. Chairmanship could be interesting. I get to control where money goes, etc. But again, I'm going to follow everyone else and grab a presidency instead. During one nomination per chairman election, get 2 votes. I don't know that director of trade is terribly interesting. You might be able to get some kind of agreement from people if you give them stuff. But I'm going to go with the chairmanship instead. Shipyards cost less money. Okay, so this guy would be very, very interested in, say, ships purchasing. But, I don't know, is the next guy going to take ships purchasing? Or do we want the director of trade? It's a good call. I am going to actually roll a die because I do not want to not get ships purchasing. So odds I'm just going to go for what I want. Yeah, I'm going to just go for ships purchasing instead of one of the executive offices. That brings it up to here, and he definitely wants the directorship of trade. And I have a little problem sometimes under the lighting telling these 3 colors apart. First of all, 2 oranges. I actually find the light and dark orange easy, but the dark orange and the pink, sometimes I'm having trouble with them. A lot of the other colors, so I mean, it's kind of funny because like the blue, the green, the purple, very standout colors, not, you know, like a dark blue and a purple that causes problems, much as I like both of those colors better than, you know, these 2. The green looks like kind of a really lame green to me in a way, but it's kind of pretty, and it really does jump out at you, which is nice. But on the other hand, these 3, and honestly, I don't have much trouble between reds and oranges. Anyway, now we're back to him. He gets to place another position. Now I have the directorship of trade. Overall, I think goods purchasing is going to be more valuable for the director of trade. Although military affairs is right interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because military affairs allows me to send troops out immediately, to send those cannons out. And there might be some reason that somebody offers me something for sending the army out to them. I don't think there's a hell of a lot of power in the goods purchasing unless I'm going to be buying factories, which it may not be the case. Okay. The Larkins family will grab the last one, which is the goods purchasing. Okay. Now, we start back with the chairman, or the first player, and we're going to roll 3 dice and see what they get on the table. Now, I got to be careful because it's captains and officers that give you bonus riders. So I get a 2, a 3, and a 6. 3 gets me a shipyard. 2 gets me a manor, which is a real bonus, 2 victory points right off the bat. And 6 gets me a captain, which comes with a bonus rider. This guy also has 3 dice. I couldn't sleep, so, I mean, I slept for a while, but I couldn't go back to sleep. 1, 4, 5. 1 is a share. This share I'm going to hold off because it produces money. 4 is a factory. I'll just take the end one here. And 5 is an officer, which gets me a rider. And it's nice having the extra cubes early in the game. You don't have to worry about running out of them real early. Over to Sykes. 3, 4, 6. 3 is a shipyard. Now, I'm not sure randomly whether I can place under that 5. If I can, it kind of doesn't matter. You don't want to have shipyards that are both yours, probably, unless you're controlling the ship's purchasing. But let's take a look at these others. 4, we take the factory. 6, we take a captain. We get a bonus rider. And notice that bonus is coming from your pool, as opposed to the ones that showed up in here that came from your initial because you took an executive position. The only question I have here is I need to see what shipyard cubes are put in the highest empty slot in any column. I think I can pick either column, so I'm going to take this one. Yeah, I would have liked 2 writers, huh? The Walsh family. Let's roll theirs. They also, everybody's got 3 dice except for Orange, who has 2. Dark Orange. 1, 2, 2. 1 is a share. It'll be more money. And 2 in the manor. Wow. That's a lot of victory points to begin with. And that's the thing that I tend to forget. Like, at least when I was playing, I lost complete track of the victory points until towards the end of the game, where I was like, ooh, well, if I concentrate real hard on victory points, maybe I'll be able to, like, slip ahead. Well, it turned out I had a lot of victory points anyway. I had one of those and had been scoring things, just not paying any attention to it. Larkins. 2, 5, 5. 2 gets him a manor. And 2 officers. Not necessarily the most inspiring start. The nice thing about officers is they'll eventually get sent out to the ships. Now, I wish they could get sent out in it right away. I almost feel like these should be moved right at the beginning of the game. And the final family only gets 2 dice. 3, 4. 3 will be a shipyard. And 4 will be a factory. Okay. We're ready to start. Now, we take the family actions. We start with the chairman, who's over here. Not exactly where I expected. I thought he'd be way over there, but it turns out that's not very good. He gets to do a... Oh, everybody should have some cash. Everybody's going to have $5. Let me deal that out. In addition, I noticed I forgot, each of these starts with 2 votes. So you can't completely screw over a presidency, forcing, the players to be like, oh, I'll give you a favor if you give me something to do. Each of these actually can make a delivery, which is important because that delivery is worth $1 to you if it succeeds. All right. So family. That doesn't help. What do we want to do? We're the chairman. The chairman's ability is going to be to promote people from the lower executives, from the senior officers, up to the executive officers. I don't have a lot of money, so putting into captain doesn't seem terribly valuable. I could buy goods, but the problem here is Pink might want to buy goods. He's probably going to buy shipbuilding instead. Pink might want to buy goods, which means the reason he's going to go for shipbuilding is he's got cheap shipbuilding production. Which means I might not be able to count on the goods being sold. So what do we have here? We have $5 in goods, 2, 4, 6. We're already at a point where we're not forced. If we put a piece down, we're not forced to be chosen. There's not enough cash in here to force that. So I can put a couple of cubes for free into writer, which doesn't sound terribly bad because none of my guys are going to get promoted here. So I think that's what I'm going to do and save cash for myself. Another option, I could buy shares. Shares are going to cost the per share price, but it's possible no dividends get paid and the share price goes down. Ooh, shit. Before I do that, I have something I got to do first. I have $8 for those 2 cubes to allocate to the different company offices. And now it's time to start negotiating. That $8 is part of the setup of the game for these additional cubes. Yeah, I think we're going to be paying dividends. I have 2 shares. Maybe I want to buy shares. That $8 is part of the initial price. So now, if I don't place in here, I could throw additional money into goods or ships. Ships are more valuable than goods in the sense that they last for longer probably, but they're also more expensive. I don't control the goods or shipbuilding. I don't control any of those. I don't control the military. I can't really gain any glory for anything that I see here. So I don't know what to do with my cash. I think I want to boost revenues so that it's more likely that I can give money out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each person, each of the presidencies, $1 to make them more effective. Okay. And then let's see. We have 3, 4, 5, 6. That covers 2. That covers getting 3 of the goods. I've got 4 more bucks. What do I want to do with that 4 extra bucks? I want to put, I could buy a ship, right? I've got $5 and $4. I could guarantee another ship is built. Or I could buy more goods. I'll put it into shipping. And we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is a shitty amount. Yeah, that'll be the first thing spent, so we'll just leave that big stack there. That works for me. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop 2 cubes into the writer. I'm going to keep cash in case I get retired. I can buy into something. And this looks pretty attractive, to tell you the truth. All right. Larkins. Shipbuilding costs $2 each. Well, we have $9 here. Right now, that'll buy 2 ships. I want to make sure I get some of that money. This ship is insured to be bought. I'm going to buy double shipyard here, and that only cost me $4. And that'll be my action. Remember, you can only place in one of these boxes as long as the monopoly exists. Over here, he's got cheap manners. That's great late in the game. Right now, I don't really know that that's what I want to do. I think I want to set myself up for an engine. So, I've got military affairs right now. I'm going to put 2 cubes in the officers pool, because if I've still got that position next turn, I can assign myself to go fight in a war somewhere, wherever the most likely place is that a war will be. Every 2 ships with captains. He's in favor of ships with captains. They don't have to be his own. Well, I see a couple of ships with captains there, but I'm not going to have money to that's one of my captains already. I'm not going to have a lot of money for that. So what else might we want to do? One thing we can do is we can look at the money here and figure out what we might want to do. So we're going to get $1 for the shipbuilding. If we place here, well, pink will still build their own ship, which is going to be cheaper. And they might choose one or the other, but that doesn't really help me. Factories, there's $6. That's enough to cover these. If I put another one in there, maybe pink would pick me, but maybe they wouldn't. Doesn't sound like a good guarantee. I've got a writer. I don't necessarily feel the need to have more. I don't have an officer, so I'm going to put 2 of my cubes into the military side of things. Over to blue here, skilled administrator. When taking any company action, roll an additional die for free. Well, that's why he wanted one of those for sure. He also doesn't have a whole lot of opportunities available. Getting a ship early in the game might be nice. There aren't a lot of shipyards, unfortunately. But I don't see a lot of places to make money that I place. I have a writer, so I'm going to drop. This is a potential to make money as well. But ships make you money throughout the game. These guys just make it for one conquest. Well, each time you conquest. And then our final one is these guys. At the start of trade, if you have at least 2 writers, gain £1 from the bank. Well, it definitely seems like we want to throw more writers in. It's a free action, and it gets us $1, which seems better than anything else we can really do. Okay. So that handled the family side. Company. There are no vacancies right now. So, Officers Act, ships purchasing, pretty much guaranteed what he has to do. He has to spend $8 to buy these 2 ships, because they're the cheapest 2, and they are given to the Director of Trade to assign. That money, 2 of it goes to the pink player. Oops. The other pink player. 1 goes to dark orange, and 1 goes to green. And the rest goes to the back. Okay. He's done. I'm going to move him off to remind me where I am. Next we go to goods purchasing. I have $6. That is going to be split $2 to blue, $2 to green, and $2 to pale orange, to give these 3 to the Director of Trade. And don't worry, those get filled up later. All right, that's the only thing he's allowed to do. Military affairs, he has to buy cannons. Well, cannons are $3 each. Somebody could have bought a factory, didn't realize it. He'll buy a cannon and give it. I don't know why that's not marked there. Now he gets to assign that cannon. He does not get to assign these officers. They haven't been added to the officer pool. Now, nobody is really excited about being given a cannon. I really don't think anybody wants to do a conquest. Madras is not a bad place to do a conquest, and he'd be able to promote someone. Is he willing, and likewise green, because in both cases these have a defense of 1. Are either one of them willing to offer a promise? Remember, promises can probably be gained back without much cost due to promotions. Okay, blue offers a promise. I'm going to take that promise. So this is pale orange here. Pale orange will take a blue promise. If that lasts the whole game, it's worth 2 victory points. But chances are blue will give a promotion. And it doesn't have to be a promotion you want. It just has to be one that's over some other player. But it's over another player, which is, it can't just be over blue, because that would be a nepotism if you went in the other direction. Should be easy enough with 6 players for that to happen, though. So he will give the cannon over here. Might mean there's a war. I don't know. Because he needs money for shipping as well. So, but not much spent for not much gain. I was really worried about giving out promises the first time I played. Well, the only time I played. But I don't think it's that big a deal. Giving other things like money is a little different. Okay, and now orange has shipping and goods to give. Now, again, each person might be willing to give a promise. Pale orange is not terribly interested in the dividends being good. So he's probably most interested in, give me a promise, you know, or give me something else. Well, and by the way, what he does with the captains is so minor. He just offers them for sale, but I think he gets to choose the ordering, which could be important. So he could give somebody the cheap ship. Bengal needs 2, 3, or 4. This needs 2 or 3, 2 or 3, or 5. You know, here it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 9. You know, so a lot of different goods could go It kind of helps everybody to make the company a little rich, but I'm not terribly intrigued by that. So I'm going to see, is anybody willing to give me a promise to fill them up? Give them, you know, whatever they can use at least. Orange and green are both willing to give promises. 2. Is orange willing to give a promise in order to get 2 of the items? They are. So, dark orange and green are both giving him a promise as well, because he's going to assign it this way. He's going to give 4 goods here and 3 goods here. Well, total of 5, which will allow him to completely fill that up, and that's an extra $1 for him, so that's kind of a big deal. All right, he's done his thing. Now, we move to the Bombay Presidency. Now, Bombay could try to open up trade with somewhere else. There's more money over here. That's good for the company. This is really, really easy. That's good for the player. I have $6. I am going to spend 3 of that 6. Yeah? No, 2 of that 6 to try to take Hyderabad and add it to my presidency's, you know, general area. So I don't want to roll just 5s and 6s. I would like to roll a 1 or a 2. And I do. Wow. So this has been added. And order doesn't really matter at this point, because nothing is conquered yet. And that's pretty potent, because now I can do shipping. And what I'm going to do for shipping is I'm going to spend $4 to give me 4 dice. But there's 2 of these, so I subtract 1. So I get 3 dice for my shipping, and I'm exhausting all my ships and goods to do this, I think. I'm not sure if I fail if the stuff's exhausted, but I think it is. I got a success, or 2, so I can apply these. Now I have 5 things. Oh, I put them in the exhausted. 3, I'm sending less goods than ships, so I'm safe. I don't have to assign them anywhere in particular. That's 5 things. 3 of them are going to Hyderabad, and this is huge. While 2 of them go here. And the company income gets increased by $15–20. More importantly, though, from his point of view, is, he didn't do a conquest, is that he hit 4 spots, which means he's going to get $4 into his personal pocket. All right, now over to the Madras president. Now, he might want to do a conquest. He did spend money for that for a reason. So I'm going to do the conquest. I'm going to exhaust a cannon. And conquest die rolls are 2 each. So I'm going to spend 4 of this $6 to get 2 more rolls. That gets me a total of 3 rolls, -1 for the defense. I'm taking some chances here to get me 2 dice. I get a success, so I have conquered Madras. We need the governor of Madras. That gets placed here. and there were no soldiers, so there's no plunder advantage. This doesn't get used up. It's not like the other goods. Now I can go sailing. I'll spend $2. There's only one region, and I get 2 dice. I get a success. We're getting very lucky here. That gives me a chip here, and I increase the corporate profits by $4. Over to Bengal. Well, he does not have any army, so he's not even going to think about conquest. But he definitely wants to do trade. Does he want to open up to Mysore? Well, that doesn't really help me. I can make my 5 and get pretty good there. So the answer is no. There's no real reason for me to hold on to money, except that maybe the next director of trade will be kind of, the chairman did his job. He assigns positions, right? No, he doesn't get to do anything. Okay, that's the purple ribbon. I might as well spend all my money, more or less, unless I want to get fired, which might not be that bad, but I don't have much cash, do I? I got $6. That's not bad. All right, I'm gonna spend $4. Keep a little money, maybe. That means I'll get distributed some money, I don't know. But $4 means I get to roll 4 dice. I'm sending all my goods and ships out. Seriously? I only have 4 of these? I thought I had 5. Wow, that only gets me this. You know what? Hold on that. I am going to do my company action. I'm going to try to open up Mysore. And I'll use 2 dice for that. So that's the $2 that's sitting there. I succeeded. That puts this here. And now I'll send out these 4 with the other $4 that I had already spent. But I lose a die because now there's 2 areas. I get a success, which means I can cover $4 of spaces, and I get 12 more bucks for the company, which is great and good and all that. And the company has lots and lots of money. The company's doing very, very well. We had a lot of failures in my game, in the first game that I played. All right, that has gotten us through all of the offices. There's no China, so we reset these suckers back in their little boxes, I guess. And we go down to the trade step. Okay, let me swap out batteries. See, most of the stuff in the game is fairly mechanical. You get some decisions, but all right, players take money for tax, presidential bonus, interlopers, and prize family power. Okay. Tax. No one has a governorship in their own hands. I don't know if Madras gets taxed anyway. I think it does. Yeah. No one exists there. So the tax for this is only $1. So that goes there. If a player had been there, he could steal that money. Presidential bonus. Okay, presidential bonus is the money for these. So orange And this goes to his personal capital automatically. He got $2 for his 2. These do not get removed yet. Well, they might as well, but blue gets $1. Let's get change where change is due. And green gets $4 and is very wealthy. He has a $10 chip. Ooh, still not enough to go in there. Which is really nice victory points and might be worth doing. All right. Interlopers would be if anybody had ship captains. Prize and family power, we have some of these. Every 2 ships with captains, that's none right now. He should have gotten an extra die for both his actions. He succeeded in both, so I'm not too worried. This is going to be hard to remember. He has 2 writers, so he gets yet another $1. Okay. And nobody has any of these, so we don't have to worry if any of those produce money, which I don't think any of them do. Okay. Company now owes for debt. I could have taken out a loan as the president and thus created more goods to play with or created money for these guys in excess of what they had and maybe gotten a favor out of that. I did not need that. Military upkeep. Okay. We have 1 cannon, so I owe $1 for that. Country trade. That's shipholders. And angry stockholders. There are no angry stockholders. We're in good shape here. All right. So I have $35 as the chairman. I want to give out dividends. There's no question of that. How many dividends do I want to give out? Well, we need money for operating expenses. I look at where I am, and none of the goods are, every time you buy one of these, $4 goes for the chairman to distribute. I look at the goods, and I'm not getting any money for goods. I look at shipbuilding. I'm not getting any money for shipbuilding. I'm not sure what I would do. Something on this card. But on the other hand, I kind of don't want things to just fall apart. Although I'm doing pretty well on victory points, huh? I don't want next turn to be really lousy. I want to be able to produce profit next turn. So I don't want to give out all my money. There are 2, 4, 6, 7 of these. How about I give out $21, which is $3 a share. And we'll mark that down. 21 puts me down to 14. That's a pretty hefty dividend. So I get $6, which puts me into the big money. Blue gets $6, gets them into the big money. Shares can be very nice. Orange gets $3. Green gets $3. And pale orange gets $3. Yeah, maybe I should keep some change. We'll see. In addition, because I paid at least 2 times the dividends, the price of the shares goes up to 5. When I was chairman, I drove the price down so that I could buy more shares. That was my cleverness, because I didn't have a lot of shares compared to other people. I also bankrupted the company and destroyed it, but that was later in the game when they made me chairman at the end. Now, the remainder of the money, and some of this went to dividends, $14 is going to be handed out. 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. Chairman is interested in possible promises because I'm not sure that, do we actually need more ships? Aren't we doing pretty well here? Well, is the shipbuilder, he's the first guy. You want $3 more so you can build your ship. Give me a promise if you want it. Yeah, he's not willing to play this game, nor with goods. Because honestly, if you just give cash out, it's not going to make much difference. Blue will be promoting a writer that's not him. It'll probably be pale orange, just to get rid of that promise. Although, he could give out promises to all the other players or something like that. But chances are there aren't going to, there's too many players in the writer's pool. He's more likely to want to get his promise back. If there weren't many in there, it seems worthwhile to do a little nepotism at this point in the game, in the 10-turn game especially. So then other people have some possible interests. If Pink's not playing, he's not interested in that either. Is Orange willing to play? Well, pale orange. Pale orange might be willing to buy more factories if he's given enough cash. These are 2 each right now because of this card. We don't know what the next card is. We'll put this at the bottom just so that it gets shuffled into the deck if need be. That's not by the rules again. That card should be in the deck. The other card shouldn't be. And they should both be kind of fixed. But there's a reshuffle in there, so I don't want to force the dissolution. Well, what do we have? We have, this is definitely interesting. With one person refusing, maybe he won't do it. He's willing to do this. So what he says is, I got lots of money. I'm allowed to buy factories. How much can you give me? I'll build a big army. Purple's like, well, maybe we don't want to make it too big. That would be extreme. So let's see. At $2 each, if I give $6, you could build 2 more factories. I think that's fair, and I think Pale Orange is willing to go with that because he doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of money there. That leaves me with some additional money. Oh, Pale Orange just gave a favor. That leaves me with additional money. Now, these kind of need money to operate to some extent. So I would like to hand out cash to each of them. One of them, Blue, doesn't need as much money. So I'm going to distribute them 3, 3, and 2, unless somebody convinces me that something better should be done. Now this is kind of good for the people with captains, by the way, the fact that no boats are getting purchased. Because they can buy the cheap boats now. And that'll add ships to the company, so it's great. Let's see. Does anybody really need money? Whoever the governor of Madras is probably wants money. But otherwise, I think everything's pretty set. I don't think anybody's going to make a bid. So we'll do it this way. And the company's figuring out ways to waste its cash. That puts us to the evening post. We draw a card. And the price of factory goods is low, which means I can build lots of factories, I guess. Okay, first there will be 3 events in India. Right? Yes. All right. So the elephant has to move in order for an event die to take place. Nothing funky has happened yet that changes this. So this goes from the 1 to the 2. We're in balance, so we just roll 1 die. We get a 3. That's 2 flags. 2 flags is a revolt, which will move it towards chaos. We're into chaos. The revolt, I believe, just separates. The region becomes sovereign and closed. So this is now no longer part of the Punjabi Empire. It goes to the lowest number dominated region if possible. Okay, we've got a 7 and an 8. So it'll move to here. This is the second one of these. Okay. And now we roll here, but we roll 2 dice and take the highest die. That highest die is a 4. That is also a revolt. We're still in chaos. This goes to Madras for the 3rd die. And this could be a problem. This could eliminate the Madras presidency. Why you don't want just one region in your presidency. 2 dice, take the highest. It's a 6. That is a revolt. Okay. A revolt in this case means we can do a police action. Well, we want to. Our guns are expended. This gives us 1. Is 1 enough? No. We would need to equal the die roll, which was a 6. So we are screwed. The governorship of Madras is destroyed. Madras itself is removed from here. Get this. I think trade is disrupted for what that matters. But the big thing here is this stays on Madras. Yeah, any completed orders are disrupted, which means we lose ships. Any orders are disrupted. The president associated with the order removes as many ships as the demand of each filled order. So those ships have been destroyed. Place a black dust on the provincial's current office holder. The office will be eliminated. If a presidency loses its last region, the presidency is eliminated. So we get this. He's been fired. But worse than that, Madras is going to be eliminated and will no longer be in the game. There's only 2 presidencies. Eventually, you probably get down to 1 presidency in the game in general. Okay. So, that puts us to attrition. And the order, get rid of the this money. It's gone. I can get rid of the cannon. It's gone. The whole presidency's been eliminated. Attrition. We first roll for the chairman. The chairman is removed from office on a 4 or more. He rolls a 2, so he gets to stay in office. Next, we go to each of the E offices here. Also, these guys are 5 or more. He stays. Bombay's president stays. Madras, he automatically rolls a 6. Now, he has a pile of money. He has 14 bucks. Not quite enough to get this. 4 bucks could get him this. This would have been useful, perhaps. I don't know. Not likely. I'm going to spend that 4 bucks. I make it 6 bucks because I have to spend 2 bucks more. So, because I did so poorly. So I'm going to take that cash and I'm going to put my cube over here where I can gain a captain if I want one. And I have some cash so I can buy a ship. Madras is gone. Okay. Over to Bengal, also a 5 or more. Okay. Now we swing down through these, and on a 6, these guys disappear. Okay, he just went. So our ship's purchasing guy just went. That's pink. Seriously, he only has 3 bucks? He has no shares. Wow. Well, that sucks. So, the question for him is, wow, that really sucks. What he wants to do in terms of taking something. For 3 bucks, he could take this that gives him the reroll. For 3 bucks, he could move the elephant, which sounds better than a reroll. He can't buy any of these. They're too much money. I am going to spend 3 bucks and put my cube over here so I can move the elephant. In the long run, I think that's probably the best thing. Although the events is kind of nice too. Now if I roll another one though, I've got nowhere to put anybody. So a club membership might have been nice. And here some of the problem is I'm only getting 1 victory point for that cube. And I might have to remove it. Oh, jeez. All right. Gone. He's got nowhere he can spend on it. We're getting rid of all the lower level ones. Okay, pale orange, military affairs. He has a pile of money. He is just an S, so he could spend 5 or 4. 5 on the 2 cube sounds like a reasonable buy at this point. And we'll also go into there. Ooh. Director of Trade. No, we already did that. Okay. So that's the attrition. Now we do the local news. Popular support, we've got a law. Popular support starts at 0. Trade regulations. Presidents taking sale action pay twice the penalty. Remember, the penalty is the number of these minus 1. So both of the presidencies would take a 2-point penalty instead of a 1. Why would we want this? Well, I don't know. It's not absolutely clear why anybody would be in favor of this, but very clearly there's a couple of people who are very much against it, and maybe no one's terribly opposed to seeing them have trouble. This is a persistent effect. I'd have to remember this. That's the big negative. Okay. So we start with our chairman, who has no votes on his own. He could spend money. It doesn't seem worthwhile to spend money for himself. Pink has 2 votes for his 2 shipyards. I don't know. Certainly not going to spend any of my no money on this. Am I terribly opposed to the company? Like, I don't have any shares in the company. I don't have any money. I am going to vote in favor of this with my 2 votes. Over here, pale orange. Pale orange also has 2 votes, plus possible cash. He has no holdings there. He doesn't have a lot of shares. He will throw his votes in favor as well. He just doesn't feel like success of the company is necessarily in his best interests in the long run. Bright orange, or darker orange, has only 1 vote. He has some cash. He sees another vote for blue, but blue may not be terribly in favor of this. Pale green has a couple of votes. Were the people most interested in this? I'm going to throw a buck in and move it 3, with the understanding that pale green would do the same if need be. But is in the last position, so he has the biggest capability for hitting, for just being able to force the issue. Blue doesn't think that he's terribly in favor of it, but he's also not opposed. He doesn't want to blow his money to cause this. And then pale green has 2 votes, which is enough to bring it down to 0, which is why orange's bid made sense. So the law does not pass, which is cool, because it's a persistent effect and would have been annoying. Now we go to the refresh. And in the refresh, boats come back. Goods are used. These dots come off. I moved them already. Captains and officers become assignable. What else? We get new boats available. We're going to see people start to build ships. And we get one of these to fill those out. I think that's everything in refresh. We spent this money. I dealt it out. The revenue always goes away. And we go to turn 2. And this one's ready to be loaded, I guess.